Thank you for joining the third edition of the Hotel and Tourism Virtual Forum. My name is George Duchev, and today I'll be your host and moderator again. The topic of this discussion is destination marketing at its best, how to make a destination successful. Here we have some very successful marketers, as well as a representative of a destination, which shows how successful destination marketing has to be implemented. I'm aware that this topic is so big that most probably we won't be able to cover it in detail, but we'll try to mark the most important things and trends related to destination marketing. Also, we are aware that the situation now is not even close to what it used to be a half year ago, so most probably all that is planned and implemented has to be adapted and redeveloped. You are invited to comment and ask questions via the chat and Q&A panels. So I'll be glad if you join the discussion. Now I'd like to present our speakers. It's Keith Jenkins, who is the founder and CEO of iambassador. Vato Kavtaradze is the founder and creative chairman of communication agency WINDFOR'S. And Aljoša, who is heading the representative office in Italy of the Slovenian Tourism Board. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsors and partners, Kerher, Asa Abloy Global Solutions, BG Tourism, and the Bulgarian Association of Hotel Executives. So, can we start by putting things into context and sharing some good examples of destination marketing campaigns that used to work and you've been involved into? Let's share some case studies. Maybe we'll start with Aljoša to show us some of their destination marketing campaigns and how this is organized in Slovenian Tourist Board. Aljoša, floor is yours.
Thank you. So, thank you very much for your invitation today. I'm very glad to be here with you. So we can go into touch some maybe interesting questions and try to give some answers to the listeners, because today I'm aware that we have more answers than questions. Now, I mean, more questions than answers, because everything's so complicated and it's changing so fastly that we also have to be like running every day behind the things. I'm representing the Slovenian Tourism Board, so we are a tourism board, a national tourism board. But my colleagues here, you are like from agencies, so you are in the opposite side. No? So I think we both are facing the new challenges, the new like problems that coming out every day, and we try to do our best and give the right answers. Can I start with the presentation? So I will go through the slides of Slovenia. So let's say that I prepared some very quick and easy slides about the digital marketing tools of Slovenian Tourism Board, but we really could speak a lot, as George mentioned before, about the marketing strategies, the digital marketing strategies, the new also strategies that we are implementing now. Actually, also my presentation will not give all the answers, so I think that we will speak more later. But just to start, I think that we can go. And basically, I want to start with this. It's a lot of things putting together, but just to understand, I really want to start with this, because it's very important when you do a campaign to understand to who are you targeting, so who is your target, what are your key products, and what are you selling, and why. So basically, if a destination is able to say, to communicate the real reason, the why of the reason of the coming to a certain place, to a certain destination, I think this is the real point. No? So if you are able to give the customer, to our stakeholders, the answer why come to Slovenia, so give not just come and make just I don't know, be a tourist. No, we really want to give the reason, which is which it comes also from our researchers. No, so basically today our communication is based on a message that we give to the world that Slovenia, it's a boutique destination for 5-star experiences, and we want that this awareness of I feel Slovenia will be seen in all the markets. So Slovenia is a country where 4 months goes words goes together: the Alps, the Mediterranean parts, the Pannonian, and the Karst. So this is a very interesting point of view for many tourists, because you can find in the same place a lot of different products together. No? So when we started from why and we give to the client this answer, we go to what. So what is our product? So we were able to create 10 products, main products, let's say, which goes in 4 main regions, and they are marketed in 4 seasons. No? So basically the 360 65 days of tourism in Slovenia. So basically this was a very important work done before we even started the campaign, to understand what are we selling. And then comes the last, how are we selling? And here we go in depth. So we made the researches about our key targets, target clients. We will see now the personas, the buyer personas, which this is also a very important thing. So basically, I jump one slide and then I go back. This was a very, very big marketing investment that Slovenian Tourism Board made in the past. So we were able to understand who are our target clients, and we find 12 of these profiles. So with this, I want to say to you that also tourism boards, I mean, national organizations are doing these things. So it's very important that we know who are our sociable foodies, which are these clients that basically are made by taste experience. They want to taste the new things, incredible signs of of some gastronomy, visit wine, local attraction, history, castles. So they usually go to the center of Slovenia, to the central region, to Ljubljana, and also to the mountains. Usually they are married. They make 5 months in advance the reservation. So once you have these researches done, it's very easily then to create the campaigns, no, the digital campaigns, the offline campaigns, no. So I want to focus on this to say that it's very important for a destination, for a country, for a tourism provider to have these things done, these let's say researches before we start the marketing campaign. So once that you start, you actually know exactly who are you targeting and which product goes to which target, no? So to which person. So this, I think, is a very, very interesting thing. And here I want to give you like a photo of all our promotion and marketing tools that we use. This, I think this is only, yes, about the communication, because then it's also the product development. So for the digital, we focus a lot on content, digital marketing. So of course, the national tourism website, the official tourism web. Then the content generation. So we ask users to create, and then we will see later some user-created content. Of course, all our digital campaigns, which are national, international. I'm responsible for the Italian market, so we are preparing the communication on Italian market, which is the most important market, foreign market for Slovenia, close to and Germany and Austria. So, and then social media, of course, now today, all the social media are one of the most important tools that we use for our communication. All the advertisement, the public relation, and yes, also now I can mention now the Michelin guide coming to Slovenia, and this was a very, very important public relation tool that we use. That many of influencers and PR was writing some articles about this, and this was very important for the knowledge of Slovenia overall in the whole world. So then business events. Now we know that unfortunately these events had a stop in the last months, but we are pretty much sure that the business events will remain one very important key of promotion of Slovenia of countries around. So fairs, trade shows, workshops, farm trips, promotional events. And then, as I mentioned, the research and development of products. So all the work has to be done before we start the campaign. No? So the product development. So it means that the National Tourism Board is asking the providers to create the real products that we can market then on website and in all our digital tools. No? So the research development, I think, is one of the most important parts of the business, because if you don't have the right researchers and if you don't have the right product, then it's everything like collapsing. We can be the perfect marketer, but if we don't know who are our customers, how can we go to them? So I think that research development, as we saw before, as I mentioned you before, it's one of the most important things. So here I want also to give your attention to the green scheme of Slovenian tourism. This is also a very interesting part of our communication, because is this what you see on your right side? So it's basically a certificate that we use for certificate the excellency in sustainability. And this is a very important thing also for the knowledge of Slovenia overall. As I mentioned before, business events, innovation, and of course, European projects. So this is actually how we operate. Our message, what we are basically, is that Slovenia, it's a green country, it's an active country, it's a healthy country, and it's a boutique country. So we are targeting the boutique market, a genuine country, and we want that our clients come to Slovenia to be balanced. You know? So all this put together creates the message that we want to spread to the world. We have a lot of new also creativities. Maybe we can see some creativities later when we will talk about the campaigns. So if you want, ask me anything you want. Also, if you have some questions, I will be happy to answer. But this is our message, that how we communicate and what we communicate now about Slovenia. So if we go now to see some digital marketing tools, so digital marketing is used from Slovenian Tourism Board basically for two key objectives. The raise of recognizability about reputation of Slovenia as a tourist destination, so awareness. This means that we don't sell directly products, but we communicate about Slovenia in a very general way and in an emotional way. So we want to go straight to the heart of the people with our communication, with our creativities, with our messages, so that people will to the nation. And this is just the first part of the fun, you know, of the way to sell the product. So we go on the first step to the customers, and we put in the head of customers that Slovenia is a green country, it's a sustainable with the creativity, it's a relaxing country. So we try to go on the first step, so just awareness. And then, of course, also with our, this is the second most important goal, it's objective, is that we want to increase the possibility that Slovenia will be selected as a preferential tourist destination. So we work on consideration. And this is very important. So we know which are our key objectives, so we can prepare the campaigns after this. So our basically the most important target groups are families with children, are active people, young people, with or without children. So basically generation Y, from 20 to 34 years old, singles. Then also we target couples, seniors near of 50 plus, and then the sustainability active. So this is the best age, 45 plus. I think that Slovenia is a very, very good country for all these clients in a different moments of the year, of course. No? So basically, this is how it's going. In the last years, we create a lot of digital campaigns, which went worldwide, 21 also countries in 13 different languages. As I mentioned before, I'm responsible for the Italian market, so whatever goes to Italy goes through our office, of course, in connection with our digital marketing port. Yes, we went, of course, in all the channels, all the portals. We can see here some worldwide, and also social networks. So from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, in search advertisement, native advertisement. If we go in to see some our KPI, basically in Italy, Italy and Germany are two of the most important markets where we operate. Also the communities in social media are the most important one from our key markets. This was just one of the campaigns where we get 36 millions of contacts as a reach, more than 120 millions of impressions. This was a campaign, important digital campaign in the last years. So basically, we go with our advertisement, with our messages in all the different media. From, I can see here, Repubblica in Italy, Germany, Czech Republic. So usually we create the advertisements, and then through agencies or directly with the collaborators, we go to advertise Slovenia. Mobile ads, these are also of course one of the most important. So and of course the content advertisement. Maybe we can go to see now some creativity. Let's see. Yes, also Facebook. Facebook. This was one of the latest campaigns in the last year with this new canvas. And it was also very response. We got a lot of response on 19 countries, 50 plus users reached, 100 million of impressions. So a very important international campaign. This is how it looks like.
As I see, something happened with the presentation of Aljoša. Okay, he's back.
Okay, I'm still here.
Yes.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
back in the... Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't see for one moment, but yeah. I think I'm back.
Because of the internet connection. Yeah.
Yes, maybe because of this of the internet connection. So I will finish with Instagram. So Instagram is also one of the most important our channels. The last campaign had advertisement in 19 countries, 14 million users reached. 240,000 clicks, and a lot of new followers came to the page of the Slovenian Tourism Board. Of course, YouTube, a lot of videos uploaded every month, every year. So with new collaborations, we also invite some important international influencers to create the videos. And I want to show you now are you able to see this, the web page?
Not really for now.
Moment. Sorry for one moment. Okay, now this is what we can share. I want to go with you on the Slovenian Tourism Board page, the official tourism portal. So this is how today we are communicating. This is the last campaign we are bringing. The My Way campaign. I want to talk about this. So this was a new campaign that we created last year, 2019, and this was a completely new idea of presenting Slovenia. So we went directly to the person. So My Way, it's a campaign that is very personal, very direct. We go to talk directly to the heart of people, and we want that the people will feel in the first person. So I'm talking directly to you, what you can do in Slovenia. So this is what we create, the campaign of My Way of, and this is in all the countries. So it's in English, it's in Italian, in all the other 13 languages. We want to communicate to the people what you can do in Slovenia. So this is one of example, My Way of tasting love. So as I mentioned before, we got here Michelin guide in Slovenia in first time after a lot of years. So first time we have the Michelin stars in Slovenia. And this is what we want now, let's say in this moment, to communicate to the countries, to the international countries, that Slovenia is a perfect destination for going for a degustation, for gastronomy, for enogastronomy, for wines and tasting together. So basically we are using these videos, and this is everything made new. This is all the new videos that we create in the past month that we are now communicating. But not only this, maybe if we go into some other places as are maybe spas, we can see here the new treatments that it's possible to do in Slovenia. So when we change the product, also the communication, I mean the communication is the same, but the content is changed. You know? As a health treatment, now my internet is a little bit slow, but let's say we use new creation, new communication, and we want to bring people to Slovenia also, let's say, for all these products. The campaign My Way, it was a new, let's say, a new idea of the Slovenian Tourism Board. It was a big work behind, because now we are basically using this new campaign in all the markets, and it was like a response to the market, because the market was asking to have the personalized thing, the personalized communication, personalized solution. So this was an answer that an answer that the Slovenian Tourism Board gave to the market. So we went directly talking to people. So when you now open your mobile phone, and you will get the advertisement of Slovenian Tourism Board, the My Way campaign will have the goal to communicate direct to you what you can do in Slovenia. So this was, I think, a big step ahead. So maybe you have some question.
Okay, thank you for this presentation. It was really interesting. Somewhere in this presentation, you mentioned a budget of 10 million euro. Is that the annual budget of the Slovenian campaign, or?
This is the budget overall of Slovenian Tourism Board for all markets. It's a national, let's say, yes, budget, and we move this budget through the countries and through the products.
Okay, and as I see, the accent is that Slovenia is a boutique 5-star green destination. Why do you think it's important to stress on green and boutique?
Well, this is a very good question. Thank you very much. I mean that nowadays, the sustainability, it's one of the key products that will give also in the future the more value added and the competitiveness in the international markets. So today, a country which is not focused on sustainability, on personalized products, on, let's say, away from a mass market, it will be very, very hard to stay on the market and to be competitive on the market. So Slovenia, it's now 10 years that has his own program of developing the sustainability. It was also certified by a lot of international and Slovenia is now proudly saying that it's one of the most sustainable destinations in the world. Also, a lot of international prizes got Slovenia, I mean, from National Geographic, from Lonely Planet, Green Destination. So a lot of international prizes. This means that overall the world is moving on this direction, and Slovenia in this way it's years before many other destinations. So I think we are on the right way. We are investing a lot, I mean, financially and with content. So it's, I think, more important that you can bring the real content, the good content. So a lot of new products started in last years. No, I mean, glampings, campings, glampings, new hotels, small boutique hotels, and when our National Tourism Board has the right strategy, this strategy goes down to the whole pyramid, so to the last, let's say, level. No, so when the strategy is clean, where you want to go, no, so we want to be a sustainable destination. This it's taken by the hotels, our stakeholders, and they understand that it's the only way that they can present on market is to be sustainable and to be together and have the right product to market. Thank you.
We will get back to this later, and I'd like to bring Keith to the discussion. Keith, you're running a society of influencers, travel influencers. Can you agree that sustainability is a key point right now in destination marketing? What's your observations show?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, just last Monday, we did a webinar with WTM, and it was all about recovery strategies from a crisis and trying to integrate sustainability policies into recovery strategies. Because our fear right now is that, you know, we're in a big crisis right now, and everyone is really struggling, and so it's important to address the hardships, you know, to address the economy, and that people will start implementing recovery strategies without thinking very much anymore about sustainability. And so we think, you know, and not only me, but a lot of bloggers as well in our blogger community, they are increasingly integrating a lot of sustainable travel type content on their blogs and social media channels. So it's a really important theme for us.
And can you cite, as I know, you've done a lot of successful destination marketing campaigns. Can you cite some of them, like showcase?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Share
So
more about some of the most successful destination marketing campaigns.
yeah, of course. Yeah. If I can share my screen, maybe that would be handy. I will just do that and that. Okay. I'll just skip this, just a very short about us, and I'll go straight. So that one. So yeah, I can start with Blogville. So this is actually one of our trademark campaigns, because we've been doing this for 9 years now, and it all started with a very simple idea. So we were just sitting down in Bologna having some wine with the Emilia-Romagna Tourism Board, and wine's a great thing because it gives you great ideas. So and we were thinking, at that point in time, this was about 2012. The tourism industry, or DMOs, were very accustomed to organizing press trips. And then bloggers started coming on board, and bloggers just work differently from, say, travel writers or maybe traditional press, if you can call them that. And so the whole model of a press trip was very constrictive for bloggers. Bloggers like to go to a destination and explore on their own and create their own content that really resonates with them. So they like to look for unique experiences and all that. So instead of getting them on a bus and showing them 10 different sites in one day, actually for bloggers, you should just let them loose and get them to explore the destination themselves. So we were sitting there having some wine, and we thought, wouldn't it be awesome to have like a blogger house or an apartment where bloggers can spend the summer and just go out and explore on their own. So that was the concept of Blogville. So it started in Bologna, in Italy, and we had an apartment, and bloggers could sign up to stay in this apartment for a week, and they were given a special pass which gave them public transport access, access to museums, and if they wanted to go and, say, test drive a Ferrari, or go and visit a cheese factory, or do some wine tasting, all of that could be arranged as well, but it was very personalized. So really it depended on what the blogger's niche is, and what their interests are, and a flexible itinerary was then made for them while they were staying in that apartment. So it was very successful. Because the content that came out was really reflected the values and the interests of the bloggers, and for the destination Emilia-Romagna, it really showcased a lot of different things which some of it they wouldn't have thought of themselves. So so that was great. And also another thing was that because the bloggers were going out and exploring themselves, they also got in touch with a lot of different food producers, or even like smaller tour operators, etc., who took them out on hikes or bicycle rides, and they could provide feedback to the partners about the level of service, and they could also give recommendations of how these small operators could improve their product. So it was a two-way thing, and we've been running this for 9 years now. So very pleased with this concept, which we've also implemented in different destinations around the world. Obviously, a blogger apartment or blogger house is quite easy to implement as a concept, and we replicated it in different destinations around the world, like in Malta, for instance, and in South Africa as well. So this is our landmark campaign, and this one, 24 Hours in the UK, is another big campaign of ours, which was very successful. It actually won Europe's leading marketing campaign award for the World Travel Awards in 2018. And funnily enough, the idea for this campaign also originated over a glass of wine. and so it was really cool because the Visit Britain wanted to highlight all the different things that you can do in the different countries in the United Kingdom, so Scotland, Wales, England, and Northern Ireland, over at any hour of the day. So so what we did was, you know what, my idea was like, well, why don't we send out some bloggers to capture all these amazing moments on video at every hour of the day. So the bloggers had to get up at 1 in the morning and go out and capture some video, you know, at every, like even 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And so they were given all these different experiences, which they had to create content about. And all these video snippets were then put into 32 videos. And then the campaign actually started in one go. It was a 24-hour campaign on Facebook, which was then also transferred to YouTube. So it started with 12 o'clock. So it started at midnight. And at midnight, the first video appeared showing, okay, this is at midnight, this is what you can do in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And then it went on and on. So every hour, a new video was launched. So it was a 24-hour campaign. And the reception was amazing. Within a couple of days, it reached like 3 million people. And yeah, it was really cool to do as well. I really pity the bloggers because they had to put so much work into it, and they were up all night sometimes. And so yeah, so this was a really cool campaign which we did back in 2018. And another one, which also won, it was actually our first World Travel Award. This was in 2017. Was Euro Food Trip, and I really like this campaign because it is a cross-destination campaign, so cross-country, and it actually showcases 2 different destinations: Emilia-Romagna in Italy and Costa Brava in Spain. And what we did was, and it encompassed so many different things as well. First of all, we had a small group of bloggers, and they traveled to Costa Brava first and then to Emilia-Romagna. So it's like 1 week in Costa Brava, 1 week in Emilia-Romagna. The great thing about this was representatives from both destinations traveled with the bloggers as well. And we got so many local producers, like the wine producers, food producers, to get involved. Also cooking classes. So we had people from a cooking school in Emilia-Romagna going to Costa Brava to share their ideas, you know, how they run their business, you know, what do they cook, etc., recipes. And the people in Costa Brava went over to Emilia-Romagna as well and did the same thing. So it was a collaboration, not only to create content, but also to involve the local partners on both sides, and also to share between 2 DMOs how each other works. And it was great because, you know, when I think this is the first cross-country campaign that we did. And the reason why we wanted to do a cross-country campaign is because, for instance, if you get, you know, visitors from, say, the US or Canada or Australia, they come over to Europe, they're not just going to go to one country, you know, they're not just going to travel in Italy. They're going to be in France, they're going to be in Spain. So, you know, collaborating and creating new products which encompass different countries just made sense to us. And so with the Euro Food Trip, we were actually highlighting the richness of the cuisines in Emilia-Romagna and Costa Brava, and actually created a whole product out of it, because you can fly from Barcelona to Bologna, and so that way it connects both destinations, and it was fantastic for foodies. Yeah, we created a lot of content about this. So I'm not sure if I have. Yeah, no. So these were the case studies I really wanted to highlight, the campaigns that we've done, and yeah, that's it really. If there are any questions.
Thank you. And I've got one. When we are talking about destination marketing and digital marketing, we're talking about as you mentioned, you're talking about bloggers, but how to choose the right one. I mean, we have bloggers, we have vloggers, we have influencers. How to make the difference and how to pick the right one?
Yeah, that's a very good question. If you, well, first of all, anyone can just open an Instagram account and buy some followers and call themselves an influencer. So the barrier to entry is really low, and so you have to be very, very selective. You have to do your research, and I personally. Well, you have Instagrammers, you have YouTubers, you have travel bloggers. So what differentiates them is that if you're a YouTuber or an Instagrammer, you basically work on these platforms. So you have a YouTube account or you have an Instagram account. Mm-hmm. I personally like to work with bloggers, also because I'm a blogger myself. The main reason is that bloggers not only have their social media accounts, because bloggers need to promote their content. So they're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, of course, Pinterest. So they cover a broad range of social media channels. But most importantly, they have their own platform, which is their blog. And the great thing about working with bloggers is that when they put content on their blog, it doesn't disappear after 15 minutes or it just goes down. It stays there forever. It's indexed by Google, and I have blog posts which are 10 years old, which are still converting, it's still getting read, and it's still bringing tourists to different destinations, and people are still making bookings for hotels or cars or tours via my blog through blog posts which are 5 to 10 years old. So you have that longevity as well. So trying to select the right bloggers to work for you, to work with you, is very tricky. First of all, you have to do your research. You have to know, okay, I think, Aljoša spoke just now. Aljoša, did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, right. Very good.
You spoke about your brand, right? And the messaging. So if you want to work with bloggers, obviously you have to be very well aware of what messaging you want to have, what does your brand mean, and then you have to find bloggers who are aligned with your brand. So Slovenia is very much into sustainability. It's a boutique destination. You'll have to find bloggers who are specialized in sustainable travel, who write a lot about active holidays, hikes or culture. So you have to find bloggers who speak to the audience that you are trying to reach. And how do you get to know all of this? Research. So, you start by looking at who's on Twitter, who's on Facebook. Well, you do a Google search on who has written content about my destination before. And you pick up some blogs. Usually bloggers are pretty good at SEO. So if you type in things to do in Ljubljana, for instance, I'm sure in the first 1 or 2 or 3 pages, you'll find a lot of blogs. So,
Yeah.
so just look up the blogs, and then find out who these people are, who are these bloggers. Go to their blog, check up their about page, read up about them. What are their values? What their interests are? What do they typically blog about? And then follow them on their social channels. What kind of things do they post on social? And that's how you get to know them. And before you even reach out to them, I would just follow them for a while and see what they do. And if you really like what they're doing, then you get in touch. I always recommend having a face-to-face or maybe a chat or a Skype call or whatever to get to know each other, and then always start small. So you can always invite them on a short trip and see how it goes as a case study or a pilot case. And then and if the things they do really appeal to you and really aligns with your messaging and your brand, then I always recommend building that relationship, because when you're working with a blogger over a longer period of time, that's when magic starts to happen. Then you have turned this blogger into your brand ambassador, and you know, it's so much easier to work with the person as well. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to bring Vato to this discussion. They've done a few years ago a very interesting campaign promoting Georgia, the 6 million tourists. Vato, can you agree that a good campaign sometimes starts with a glass of good wine, good Georgian wine?
Yeah, sometimes it starts even before. Yeah.
And can you share more about this campaign, how it happens, what was the results? As far as I know, there were also blogging involved in this campaign.
Sorry, who was involved?
Blogging. I mean, the people who share their impressions on Georgia and so on.
You know, this campaign had, I would say, some unexpected results. We somehow, yeah, well, you always count that there will be some emotional outcome from the campaign when you plan it, but sometimes the reality exceeds the expectations. It's kind of a condition of a heaven when you are planning the communication and you see that something that you've done has brought such an amazing result. So that was that occasion, and everyone was happy. I mean, whoever was involved, and not always the campaigns end like this, you know, and because it was an actual emotional outburst that was coming from the social media, you know. Mm-hmm. The reactions, we could not even believe to our, you know, when you are doing something and when you are in action of like dealing with something, you know, you sometimes get too close to the work you are doing, and then you somehow do not realize how it actually will work in real life. How will people react? How things will actually go? You cannot predict the flow, you know.
Okay.
So in this case, it happened that it was emotionally so overwhelming what was coming backwards that we were like something.
And can you hear more about this campaign, because I suppose that many of the participants are not aware of the campaign itself.
Yeah, idea was that there was growing number of international tourists that were coming to Georgia.
Okay.
And so the National Tourism Administration wanted to somehow underline this fact. And so in that particular year, it was 2016, the number of tourists, recorded tourists that crossed the Georgian border was 6 million. And so it was the record-breaking number by that time. And after that year, it came to the 7 million, and then it go to the 8 million. So it grew since then. But that was the first point that we got to this important record-breaking number. So the brief was like very simple. When they approached us, they asked us to do something memorable that would underline this fact. That would, on one hand side, inform the whole world that kind of a destination exists, and you can just go and see there whatever happens there. And on the other target was the internal target, to feel locals that the tourism is growing and the potential of tourism is vast. And so it was like kind of a dual target audience that we had by that moment. But the idea was that, okay, there's going to be a 6 million tourists coming within those days. It was the New Year's Eve. And so maybe you could do something. So then we started to build on that. And at certain moment when this creative and strategic workflow blended into this one big thing and pot, we felt that we had something interesting. And something interesting was that we decided to make some kind of a stunt, you know, that would not be just kind of an ordinary stunt or something that, okay, we made some kind of flash mob or something like that, but something more memorable. And we played with things and we came up to certainly interesting idea that I'm probably going to show you. I think that I will show you the video that was released after some while of this particular happening. And the main thing is that everything is there is true. So it's not staged. The guy whom we are meeting does not know that he is the one, the chosen one. So, and later when you will see this video, I will talk about the details, and then I will show another shorter video that sums up the results. And as a communication agency, we got the 2 Cannes Lions with this case. And as you might know, the Cannes Lions are like probably the most significant awards that exist in our industry that praises some kind of outstanding creativity worldwide. Yes. So I'm going to show you this thing with you. Just a second. Okay. Just a moment.
Famous for its hospitality and cuisine, is expecting the record.
Just a second. Do you see the screen?
No, only the sound is heard.
Okay, just a second.
Now it's okay.
So here is the one.
Georgia, famous for its hospitality and cuisine, is expecting the record-breaking 6 millionth tourist to enter its territory. We decided to organize an outstanding reception for this special guest by inviting this person to a once-in-a-lifetime kind of dinner, one that the whole country took care of. So to create an entirely host-generated dinner menu, we asked people around the country which dishes are a must at a festive table and collected opinions on one webpage, now available for every Georgian to vote. Knowing the day and approximate time of arrival of this very special guest, we based our preparation office in Tbilisi Airport. So the plane landed, and we know by numbers that the 6 millionth tourist is there. Now the main thing is to identify the lucky one.
How are you? Is it Georgian wine?
That's so sweet. Thank you very much.
Enjoy your wine, please.
Thank you, darling. Where are you taking me? You've got to be joking. Wow. Junk shit. Absolutely ridiculous.
Hello, Jesper.
Hello.
My name is Georgi Kvirikashvili.
Nice to meet you.
I'm the Prime Minister of this country. Since you are the guest of number 6 million on behalf of my country and my people, I have an honor to host you.
This is not real.
Georgia is considered as a cradle of winemaking in the world. You will enjoy every place in Georgia, and you wanted to come back, and you will love this country.
Absolutely incredible. I've never had. I'm crying like a little boy. I will never, ever, ever forget this. This is the most amazing experience I've ever had. It's been incredible, unfreaking believable, absolutely incredible. And this is going to be a story I'm going to tell my kids forever, like my grandchildren. It's been the trip of a lifetime, honestly. The country is so beautiful. The food is incredible. People are so warm, so welcoming. Thanks everybody that's involved, everybody that has worked so hard for this to happen. I'm super grateful. Thank you.
So, how should I get backwards to the?
Do you want to stop the screen sharing, or you want to show another video? As you mentioned?
I prefer to get back to our conversation, and then
Okay.
I want to show you another video that
So-
will end our
Okay.
my part of this.
It's
story.
it's obviously brilliant. It's been a brilliant campaign, and can you share what was the approximate budget of this campaign?
Well, it was around. It was not much than ordinary campaign that is around some $50,000 US.
Only.
Yeah, it was like production of the thing, and then it was released online, and there were obviously some media costs, but it has so much of organic reach and global reach that it actually was a viral sensation. That it was like the most viral campaign that Georgia had ever had. So the main story is that it hits several inner chords of people. It's somehow based on the archetypes of in the fairy tales when someone is taken to the king on the story that is somehow embedded in our DNAs. Everyone shares. It does not matter who is from where and what the nationality is. It's like a common human insight. And then it somehow was. We were lucky to have this guy because he was kind of a guy that was sympathetic to people. He by himself, he was a YouTube blogger by himself. He had some his own channel or something, and so he was. Then he spread his own videos when he was already shocked by the fact of what happened to him. Then you see in the video that he's filming something from his side, and then he was sharing from his. Then it was spread and it was shared, and so everyone was asking that, okay, is it staged or is it not? Actually, it was not. We basically knew that that was one of the guys that we had on our target. We choose him, but he didn't know that he was chosen one. So his reactions are absolutely authentic and genuine. So he was, well, he first thought that he was coming to a friend of his, and he thought that this reception was organized by her, you know. He thought that her father is some, you know, important, tough guy, some official or something who organized this escort thing and who managed to put him on the billboards. And so these surprises were authentic. So it gave the story the degree of this sincerity and of the spirit that is actually. And then it was extremely hard to produce, to exit. We had the one take actually. It was like all the cameras and all things were, you know, we had no chance to have a second take, you know. So it was something that we rehearsed so many times, so we knew what we were doing, but it was obviously hard to implement when it comes, because the reality, you never know what will happen. So it was something that, and then of course it hit quite a big number of media platforms, you know, and then it was shared, and then it was talked about, and it was then, so the main thing in the modern world, what the communication is about, is to make people talk about the thing, you know, and that was the main purpose of this communication, because any kind of a paid media samples, you know, they do not work anymore, because it's, you know, anyone can say about his or her country that there's a beautiful things going on there, there's something unique, there's something special, etc., etc. So, but they do not cut the clutter, you know, because of this enormous, of this overwhelming number of things that come to our mind every day. So the ordinary things do not get to the chords of where the emotions are created. So that was something that worked as well. So basically we had this guy, and then this guy became the local celebrity. He actually stayed here for a long time. He left, I think, a couple of months ago or something. And since then he was living here. He became a local celebrity, and he was like, you know, the viral sensation that converted into a real life. So, and then I will. I think that interesting. It will be interesting to see the case study that we made out of this, with the results and with some so whatever happened afterwards, and yeah, the case that with which we won the Cannes Festival. Maybe most of the things will be similar what you already saw, but just to see. And,
yeah, of course.
It's shorter version and 2 minutes of thing, you know. Just a second. Yeah.
For the first time in its history, Georgia was about to welcome the record-breaking 6 million visitors in the same year. Georgia National Tourism Administration wanted to celebrate this landmark locally and position itself as the most hospitable tourist destination worldwide. By the way, we're not talking about this Georgia, but this Georgia. See our point, right? So, to prove that hospitality is in our DNA, we decided to actually show how hospitable we really are. In collaboration with the Customs Office and State Services, we detected a particular flight that carried the 6 millionth international visitor. And from that flight, selected one traveler that seemed the best possible match to welcome with unforgettable surprise. We called it Dinner with Georgia. Surprise included an airport pickup with police escort, welcoming billboards, and private dinner with.
Hello, Jesper.
My name is Georgi Kvirikashvili.
Nice to meet you.
I am the Prime Minister of this country. On behalf of my people, I have an honor to host you.
This is not real.
Please.
Georgian National Ballet and dinner served by famous Georgian chefs. According to the menu,
These dishes were chosen by Georgian population through special voting system.
that's how an ultimate guide for all tourists was created. Host-generated data of recommendations, what to eat and where to go while staying in Georgia. And that was just the starting point of this special journey. Jesper traveled throughout the country to see that hospitality in Georgia is not something staged, but is in fact all around here.
This is the most amazing experience I've ever had. I'm super grateful. Thank you.
More than 20 countries covered Jesper's trip to Georgia. That drove us to enormous amounts of media impressions and a 25% increase in tourist flow versus the same period of the previous year. And one more thing. As the whole country fell in love with Jesper, he decided to move to Georgia, turning into a real celebrity here. And that's where you might end up after choosing the most hospitable country as your next holiday destination.
So that's the story, which is basically ends here. Yeah, so everyone remembers this case, and you know, peace and harmony all over. So that is the story. And
well, it's interesting for me, and this question is to all of you. How a great destination marketing campaign starts. Obviously, we have to have a good story. We have to have the right channels and the right messengers. But besides the wine, what's in the beginning? Aljoša, how did you decide to start with the boutique 5-star green destination?
So, thank you for the question, and big congratulations for the Georgia case study, because actually I think it's one of the nicest that I saw in all my professional career now in Italy. Also, because I'm working in the Italian market, I saw also a lot of very interesting, also in Slovenia, of course, but to get worldwide known, it's not so easy. Also organically, it's very hard. I think I remember some Australia tourism board campaigns that goes
best job in the world, I suppose.
Yes. So I think as my colleague Vato said, that you have to touch the right things, touch the right chords in the heart of people. So I think national tourism boards are still maybe too serious. Maybe too. It's very hard to go.
The main thing is the tourism is about emotions. It's definitely there is a least rational decisions in that sense, and the most things come with emotions. Of course, obviously things go to the economy of things when you afford something or not. But basically, the decisions are made upon the emotional things. So that was absolutely right.
Yes. So I think that you start with a brief. Now you start with an idea. You had a vision, but then, I mean, every study, every story has his own history, no? So yes, when we started with our new campaigns from Slovenia, there were also also what Vato said, that it's important for locals to get this information. So when we do these campaigns as a Slovenian tourism board, we talk to the foreign people, but also to the local people. So this is very important, that local people feel that the touristic product is growing, it's happening, and they want to invest in their own things, because in the end of the day, it's the local people who will really take care of the tourists that are coming. So the communication goes to outside, but also inside, and this is very important. Yeah, I think.
Kit, what's your opinion? about the stories and the people behind, as well as the channels.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Georgia case study is brilliant because it touches on so many different things. Obviously, it touches on emotion, on different types of emotion, but you also found the perfect person actually to be in the starring role in this video, and so you know, and it tells, you know, it's one thing to have a great idea. It's another to execute it perfectly, you know, to convey the emotions, right? And in this sense, the video itself, I think, I mean, the person who made it, you know, obviously is very skilled in visual storytelling. So especially if you're going to tell a story through video or through photos, you have to be able to get the emotions through in a certain way, and just grab people by their heartstrings. And I think, you know, you did a really good job there. And that's the thing, you know, it's when you come up with a video, you obviously, you know, you want to speak to people's emotions, and trying to do that is very difficult. You know, you have to have the right person to make the content, you know, to film it or to take the photos or to even write a good story about it. Then you have to have the channels to get the message out for the distribution, and then you just have to hope and, you know, keep your fingers crossed that whatever that idea was is coming through, you know, and that people will say, yeah, that is amazing. And yeah, so start with an idea, and then you have to have a really good team of people to create that content. And then you really have to have really good, engaged distribution channels as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how about the research? I mean, how important are the target markets when you create a story or want to convey a story?
I think, you know, like this, you know, emotions are universal, so it doesn't really matter, you know, which markets, especially in a campaign like this for Georgia. You know, there's a lot of emotion in there that is universal. Everyone feels the same thing, and so it really doesn't matter which markets you're targeting with it. And that so many elements in there, like food. Food is something that's universal as well. Nature, you know, going out, you know, into the mountains, whatever, that's universal. And then obviously, you know, you got a bits of Tbilisi in there as well. So the city trips, you know, those are pretty universal. So you are looking at different areas of interest, and you've got all of that in one campaign. You know, if you're thinking like for Slovenia, you know, if they're doing a campaign to promote nature, then they'll obviously get content creators who are specialized in adventure, in nature, in hiking, etc., mountain climbing, whatever. And then they're probably going to target, you know, a certain particular demographic in Austria and Germany and Italy who are, you know, very interested in these activities. So, but in the campaign like Georgia, like that one, I mean, I think, you know, it's pretty universal. It touches on so many different areas of interest, and it's something you can just roll out globally.
And Aljoša, I'm just wondering, isn't it all about taking the risk with such a campaign? Because let's say you have a 10 million euro budget, and would you risk to put all the eggs in one basket with a campaign like this? Or you have to diversify the activities? Because it's obviously that the great campaigns are not always expensive, but sometimes we have expensive campaigns that are not so great.
Yeah,
that's
very true.
Humble opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very good. Thank you very much also for this question. I mean that, okay, this 10 millions of euro budget is overall for everything that we do, no? So it's not only for the campaigns, it's for a lot of other things. So yes, one of the key things I think is to focus, to spend every euro that you have in the right way. This is, I mean, universal for all of us. No? But I think that maybe ideas that it came to us is maybe more important than the budget, because also this with George, but also with maybe other case study shows that even if it with very, very small budget, I mean, it's not even important budget. Of course, with a big budget, you can target the good media. You can go also not organically, but you can post your ad, I don't know, in Super Bowl, so 400 million of people in the same moment will see your ad. But a good ad, a good idea, a good also construction, also the story behind, the emotion that is growing, the message. So everything is important to have the right result. No? So, and also we saw I mean, a lot of influencers also, the colleague Kate said before, about this idea of putting a house all together. I mean, some good new ideas will come out, and maybe in the future, we don't know. In the future, we will not even do anymore this traditional campaign. We will only do something new. No? So it is not still discovered. So maybe the idea is most important, more important than the budget you have.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And Kit, I'm really interested because I'm from Bulgaria, and as I see, our national advertisement goes in two ways. One, the bigger part of the money for national advertisement is put for foreign exhibitions, and rest of the money are put for TV adverts. How could you convince the people who take the decisions for destination marketing, not here, but whenever it works, to take a look at digital marketing, at influencer marketing, things like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's especially
from this traditional advertisement to more like 21st century.
Yeah. Change the staff. Well, yeah, no, it's a it's a tough one. Yeah, because and you know, like when we go to like an ITB Berlin or a WTM in London, and we meet, you know, with DMOs and all that. You know, sometimes, you know, that there are DMOs who get it immediately, and like, I know exactly what you're talking about, and you know, I'd love to work together. I've heard about your work and all that. That's awesome. And then you have other DMOs who like, what's a blogger? What is, you know, how do you do this as a business? I don't understand, and all that. And so there's a lot of education involved, which is why we also have our own conference every year, because where we bring bloggers and industry together, because we want to get both sides talking, and also to you know, educate the industry about what bloggers do or what influencers do, but also at the same time that the industry talk to bloggers and say, okay, this is the position I am in, you know, how can you help me? So when we are talking with DMOs who are not accustomed, usually it's one person who is, say, in the marketing department, slightly younger person who gets digital marketing, but that person has a boss who doesn't quite get digital marketing. So it's a matter of reaching out to bloggers or influencers and asking them to help you, help the younger person try to convince the boss to get some budget out so we can work together. And that's why I said, you know, start small. So even if there's a younger person in the marketing department who says, you know what, I would really like to work with a blogger. Can I just have maybe, I don't know, maybe it's 5,000 euros or something like that. And maybe we'll make a small video, or we'll do this or do that. And just get it as a case study, as a test case. And then hopefully, you know, if it works out really well, you present it to the boss, who probably didn't believe in the idea in the first place. And looking at the numbers, and you know, the numbers are always so important. You look at the numbers and like, oh wow, we actually got all those numbers from 5,000 euros. Okay, let's add more budget to it the next year. So that's basically how we try to do things. Yeah.
Aljoša, is that the case with Slovenia and Slovenia Tourist Board?
Actually, no, for us it's a little bit different. So I can speak for the Italian market. We have a budget that we use for the whole our activities. I can say now I was laughing because we also do the TV campaign now. So maybe we are in the past century, but TV campaign in Italy actually it's a very important communication tool, because TV in Italy it's one of the most used, and it's very like it has a very big importance in the media, no, overall. Yeah. So in other markets, TV it's more down in charts, but in Italy it's first, no. So everybody's watching TV. It depends also of the countries, no.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yes, also we start. Thank you very much. So we yes, as Kit said, we start with some. We also started. Also, we start with some collaboration with bloggers. So it was basically some smaller. First the smaller projects, then some bigger projects involving also other bloggers from other countries, maybe some international project during making connection with other colleagues from other countries. So it depends. It really depends. We also collaborate with some influencers, so maybe some millions influencers. Now it's different. It depends of the target, of the campaign, of the thing that we want to promote. So we go really from some €1,000 followers to millions. No, so it depends. It really depends.
Thank you. And I can't miss the question about the current situation and obvious unprecedented situation. Vato, what's the situation now in Georgia with COVID-19 pandemics and destination as a whole?
Actually, surprisingly, the situation is, as we know, the best that is known right now all over the world. One of the best, one of the most, the least number of suffering people. I mean, surprisingly low numbers. Mm-hmm. We still do not understand are the reasons physical or metaphysical, because of the numbers compared to, for example, Italy or the States or any other or many countries are so low that you can say that it just missed us. Mm-hmm. Because since it started, the overall number those who got the disease are less than 1,000. Mm-hmm. So and in some countries they were 4,000 or 5,000 per day. So I mean.
And do you communicate this with the world? I mean, part of the destination marketing.
You know, it's kind of a tricky thing, you know, because if you open your hearts and borders immediately, you might get a huge number and the flow of and you might not be able to track everything, you know. And the main reason why it's considered that the thing missed us, that we closed the borders quite soon after the outburst of the pandemic, and that was considered to be the most the crucial thing that helped us to avoid this thing. So Now it's like the government is doing it very, very accurately and thoroughly, not to open things for everyone. There's been five countries that are announced to be opening borders with us. 3 Baltic countries and Austria and Germany, if I'm not mistaken. But so this is something that is treated very delicately right now, and it's not that, okay, guys, we are the survivors and now come and let's celebrate this thing. It's not that kind of thing, because everyone is still cautious, and things have not been normalized, and in some countries the curve is still up there, and so we do not have any reasons to celebrate. So I mean, it is still about the main thing is now what which is promoted from the authorities and the tourism administration is the internal tourism that promotes locals to travel more to the places that were maybe least popular on the tourist destination map. I mean, internal tourist destinations, and so it's like still playing safe, and at the same time we all understand that the economy needs to move, and without that it's like impossible to get back to on a track. So it's kind of probably a similar situation as everywhere. So nothing unique.
Okay, thank you. And Aljoša, you also mentioned that you're putting accent on internal tourism, local tourism. What are the main points here?
Yes, actually, thank you very much also for the question. Actually, Slovenia has, before the pandemic happened, has just 25% of tourism which was made by internal, and 75% which was made by international tourism. Okay. For Italy, let's say this number was 50-50. So Italy has 50% of internal tourism and 50% of foreign tourism. So it depends, really depends from the country. But for Slovenia, this means that we focus a lot now on the internal country. We create our own communication, new communication, only for the internal market, which basically until now we just made some marginal smaller communication campaign, but now we went hard also in Slovenia. We went with a new campaign which is called My Slovenia. Now is the time, My Slovenia. So basically we ask the local people to go to discover the Slovenia for the undiscovered places. No? So maybe you go to see the place that you always want to go but you never went because it was too close, it was normal to go. And we also now we had some very positive feedbacks from Slovenian hosts from destination that said that a lot of Slovenian came and discovered and were happy. So this is also a very new thing that is happening all over the world, I think.
Okay, thank you. And as I see, we are coming to the end. So I have one question to all of you, and this is what next? How do you see the destination marketing in the next 2 or 3 years? What are the new things that are coming? What do you expect to happen soon? What's changing, Keith?
Yeah, well, 2 things really. I think well, sustainability will continue to be a big theme, and depending on how long the COVID-19 crisis lasts, it's really hard to say, what's going to happen next. So I think, destination marketing in the foreseeable future will be all about, number 1, awareness. Number 2, reassuring potential visitors that, visiting your destination, is safe. And these are the precautions we have in place, and getting the message out that it's safe to visit, but we have our restrictions, and please help us, to adhere to these restrictions as well. So, you know, it's going to be that it's reassurance and sustainability. I think these are the two main themes going forward. I think that there will be also, in terms of themes, perhaps trips out to nature, road trips. These are the themes that will be, you know, very important, especially in the next year or so, because people would rather be outdoors than you know, inside. And I'm just wondering about city trips as well, or like cultural holidays, visiting museums and that kind of thing. So I'm not very sure that city trips would be as popular as they were before. And because also I think airfares will go up. So, you know, I don't think we might see like those 40 or 50 euro return trips to Italy or France or wherever. So in that sense, you know, I think interest in city trips would be less than it was before, but more road trips, people getting out, into nature, to the beaches, just outdoors.
Thank you. Vato, what's your opinion on how will destination marketing look like in the foreseeable future, in the next 2-3 years?
You know, I think that this particular field of occupation has been shifted dramatically, and we cannot foresee exactly how it will go. For sure, there is one thing that it will not get back to the normal track unless and until the thing with COVID is settled, you know. And all those international travels seem to be under very, they would say, scrutinized in terms of they will become harder, they will become more complicated. It will, until we see the light in the end of the tunnel, it's going to be something that is complicated, and many people will avoid that.
Yeah.
In that sense, I foresee that it will boost the local tourism, internal tourism. So people will start exploring their own countries, their own places where they live, and where they've been staying for all their lives, but maybe they didn't have enough time to observe what's going around them and to dig deeper and get better introduced with their own places. So that means that probably things will get more local, and this locality will bring more insights and more, maybe it will develop even more the internal infrastructures, and that will help local entrepreneurs and local hospitality positions to flourish in a way, you know, and that people will get, you know, everyone is about doing something for themselves and then for their country. So it can be kind of a chain reaction. In my mind, it will trigger somehow the local things. And I agree with Keith that probably the safety will be the most important premise that anyone will be paying like exaggerated attention to. And at the same time, I also am very about this sustainability thing, and I'm sure that things will move, the mindsets will move towards this sustainability thing, you know, because you and we and all of us understand in these happenings that are around us that that kind of approach to the world that we're living in is the only thing that can make us survive and actually exist. So somehow I agree with whatever Keith told, and underline the importance of the local internal tourism.
Thank you. And Aljoša, does the Slovenian Tourism Board have action plan for the next year or two?
Yes, actually, I also agree completely with my colleagues, with Kit and with Vato. So I also see in the future the sustainability. Slovenia, okay, Slovenia, say we started a lot of years ago, no? So now a lot of people are starting to ask us, well, how did you do? How you are able to create this this communication? So I think that the communication will not change, not of Slovenia, not of other countries. So the communication will be the same. Also now some years now that the countries and the destinations start to communicate by let's say making a personalized products. No, so we had this need of a very personalized communication. So this is the step that all the countries are taking. Creating products that are okay for the individual. I think the age also will go a little bit down. Also, the more millennials will travel now as before, because the risk is a little bit higher. So millennials are a little bit more, let's say, easy to take bigger risks. So maybe the families will be a little bit more in the country. So the one who will travel will be the more young. So maybe the products will change, maybe slowly. So I see a lot of also opportunities in this situation, because now we have also the opportunity to create new product, better product, more value added for the people. I think it's completely fine to pay a flight from a transfer with the airplane, not 15 euro, because 15 euro, it was an unreal price. Now it's not showing the real value of this of service that you had. Now I also paid 50 euro. I was super happy, but I understand that if I pay a taxi 50 euro, I cannot pay the same for taking a flight from I don't know, Milano to London, let's say 50 euro. No? So this is the new situation that we are living in, and as my colleague said, for sure sustainability, safe, out of the mass tourism, nature, local, and also gastronomy will be for sure one of the key important things. No? So George also has an excellent wine, best in travel, I remember, because we had a presentation together. So yes, this will be the new word.
Okay, thank you for joining this panel. Thank you for agreeing to join, and thank you to our sponsors from Kercher and Pasaboy. Hope to see you soon with new campaigns, new successful campaigns.